So we're back here again. I think this is the last visit to this pond. I've just planted up some ragged robin around the margins and smeared the felt overlay with some mud to make it less obvious. If you can see that, I'll show you some pictures. I'm going to plant a couple of those ill-chosen castor oil plants, the Fatsias, which are tucked away in the corner there. I'm going to stick a decent sized one in front of that hideous electrical box, which is now redundant because there is no pump system in here. It's just going to be a freestanding natural pond. It's previously had a stream with a header pool and all kinds of electrics and all kinds of top-ups going on from the mains water supply, which was costing the client a lot of money. So I'll flip the camera and give you a good look at the sort of finished result. So this is what you see as you walk into the garden through one of the pedestrian access gates. And the pond, again, I mean, there's still some of the felt visible beneath some of the larger rocks, which, if you remember, is covering some of the boulders that we could not remove from the pond because they were concreted in. So unfortunately we've had to make do and amends, but the iris, the brook lime, the mint, what else have I added in? All the other sort of creepy crawly plants, the marginals and surface cover plants should make their way up through that felt. They will root into it, which is quite good, and that will help disguise it quite a lot. There's blackbirds been. The one on the sign there, he's been following me around all day. Well, I say all day, I've probably been here less than an hour. So yeah, not looking too bad at all. I'm relatively happy with the finished result now that there's all the planting's gone in. I'll just backtrack and have a look. So I've just planted these ragged robin in, some of which you can see are sending up flower spikes already. And as we come along, these little frilly-leaved polemonium, the Jacob's ladder, they went in on the last visit. In fact, did I do a bit about planting? I think I did with those. More ragged robins have just gone in, a little drift of them, and then a little drift of native primrose, some of which are flowering. Nice little compact plants. They'll fill out and they'll seed and spread, as will all the others. So there'll be less and less bare soil to cope with. Some of the ornamental grasses that were in from the previous planting scheme have survived and have gone back in, as have the ferns. I mean, the ferns were nice. The grasses I'm not convinced with. The last of the ragged robins in there. We've got ornamental grasses. Little iris tucked in behind and in amongst the stonework. And then a lovely drift of ground elder coming up around there, but that makes it look quite natural and native. But as you can see at the back there's a sort of hedge of the Fatsias, the castor oil plants, and they were planted all over the place. I mean, they were sort of planted in the foreground of the pond. So if we hadn't moved them, eventually people would be peering through enormous evergreens to try and see the pond. So not well thought out, I didn't think. But certainly get one between the big rock and the electrical box, which I'm hoping will be got rid of at some point. But yeah, not too bad. Always read the signs. So we now have a dry stream bed. As I say, there was a pump in this main pond, which has since been removed, and it used to feed up to that little header pool just there, cascade under the stone bridge, down a little stream into this pond, which I've just dredged out of leaves. Bit stinky. Under this bridge, and then back into there. But because there was a leak in this pond, if you remember, that's the whole reason we were brought here, was to solve the leak situation. Under that manhole cover is a ballcock sump system, which was drawing water off the mains, which had a meter on it, so they were paying out a fortune in water rates. And again, ideally you don't want highly treated tap water, drinking quality water, going into a pond. Just upsets the balance a bit. So that seems to have I mean, we've had a ridiculous amount of rain since July last year, 2023. It's now March 2024, and yesterday was a deluge as well. And it hasn't dropped in level, which is great, but it hasn't gone above that level that it is now. So it seems to have found its natural settling point, which is good. And yeah, last couple of plants to go in. Maybe sweep the leaves off the path a bit, tidy it up around where I've been working. Hand the key to the gate back to the staff at the Durhamdale Centre in Stanhope, in Weardale, in County Durham. Thank you all for your hospitality and encouragement, and thank you for getting me involved in this project. It's been a challenge, to say the least, but I hope the visitors will be suitably pleased with the result as well, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day, keeping the customer satisfied. There you go. Just leave you with that Simon and Garfunkel earworm for the rest of the day. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Click the like, subscribe, blah blah blah.